Hi, my name is Gillian and I'm the Communications and Engagement Officer for Young Start, the multi-million pound funding programme for youth-led projects across Scotland. Over the next few minutes, I'll be answering some frequently asked questions, exploring our criteria in more detail, and giving you some pointers on what to think about when applying for a Young Start grant. If you're watching this, then there's a high chance that you're looking at funding options for a new idea or an existing project. So, how do you know if Young Start is the right programme for your project? You might have noticed that the Young Start Fund was relaunched in August 2018 after a short pause and refresh. During that period, we took some time to make a few positive tweaks to the programme. We have increased the maximum amount to £100,000. We can now fund a project for up to 3 years. And finally, applications are no longer available online. We're really keen to have a chat with you first, and if the project sounds like it suits the programme, then one of our officers will send you along an application. A key point to note is that Young Start places a huge emphasis on supporting youth-led projects, so this is something to consider when thinking about applying. So what does it mean to be youth-led? Well, if young people's experiences and needs are at the heart of your idea or project, then we'd really like you to be clear about how children and young people are actively involved in the design, delivery, and or evaluation of your activities. It also means highlighting how you're harnessing or developing existing assets rather than focusing on deficiencies and remedies. The next key point is around our approaches, which are outlined on the Young Start page. Now, we're often asked how many of the approaches you need to satisfy, and the answer is that all 3 approaches are vital to the success of your application. Young Start wants to fund ideas and projects that are people-led. So be sure to demonstrate how young people are meaningfully involved in the development, design and delivery of your activity. The second approach is strengths-based. So this means making the most of and building on the skills and experience of young people and the assets that already exist within your community. Tell us why the project will address the issues in your local area. Often people miss a trick by simply listing the social challenges in the area, but the best applications give us some detail about the problem and then state clearly how their project will address them. The third approach is connected, so having a good understanding of what others are doing locally, developing good working relationships and adding value to other relevant activities in your area is also great. The next common question is around our 3 outcomes, and to list these, projects should help young people to become healthier, either physically, mentally or emotionally, connected to each other and or the wider community, and enterprising. This means that your project will better equip young people with the skills they need to enter employment or to start their own project. You do not need to satisfy all 3 of those outcomes. In fact, we often advise that you focus on being really strong on at least one outcome. Now, for some of our most frequently asked questions, can you apply to Young Start if you've had Young Start funding in the past? The answer is yes. Do you only fund new projects or ideas? No, Young Start grants are available for both new ideas and existing projects that have been running for months or years. Do you cover salaries and overhead costs? Yes, Young Start funding can be used to fund salaries and overhead costs, but don't just apply for salary or equipment costs. Make sure that you also include the cost of the activities that will deliver the outcomes for young people. How much can you request and over how many years? Well, this really depends on the project, what you'd like the funding to cover and how long you'll need the funding to deliver your project. Our advice is to demonstrate the impact that will come from the amount of funding that you're requesting. Also be realistic about your beneficiary numbers. Sometimes the more beneficiaries your project has, the less impactful your work can be. And how old is a young person, and does it matter if people fall outside of the age range? Young Start is aimed at young people between the ages of 8 and 24, so your project should really focus on impacting that age range. However, it doesn't mean that the wider community can't benefit from your project or it can't add value to others. We have funded projects that help young people connect with older or younger generations through their activities. Are you likely to be funded if another project provides the same or a similar service in your area? Well, one of our approaches is about being connected to your community and having good working relationships and collaborating rather than duplicating efforts. Do we fund sports projects? We do fund projects that involve sports. However, We're looking for projects that can demonstrate why the activities are important to the specific community or the young people that you're aiming to support. Naturally, sport creates a healthier lifestyle, but we'd like to know how young people will be involved in the development and the design and the delivery of the project, why the project is necessary for the particular group of young people that you're working with, how are young people's lives and outcomes going to be changed through your sporting activities, will there be a long-term impact on their families and communities, are the young people that you're supporting farthest away from taking part in play or sport, do they have existing health issues or are they at risk of developing health issues? Perhaps the sport is an intervention that will change the course of this young person's life. Be sure to express all of this in your application. And some final tips. When talking to us or writing your application, use clear examples of activities and be very specific about the project that you want funding for. A lot of applications tell us about how the group involves young people in a range of other activities that are not specifically about the project they're applying for. Remember, the application isn't online because we'd love to have a chat with you to help you understand if the project is a potential fit first. So I'd recommend having a look at our webpage first, checking out this blog next, and then reaching out to us for a chat on 0300 123 7110 from Monday to Friday between 9 and 5.